I think this is also where the problem comes in for Keir Starmer, because he and his colleagues very carefully and very successfully crafted a narrative around Tory sleaze, accusations of dodgy cash, accusations of doing favour for their mates. That has meant that they are being held to a very high standard. And if you like, this might sound a bit pompous, but I suppose they put morality on the table. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And therefore they're being judged in a sort of moral way. And I think there is actually a bit of a blind spot. It was described to me a few times by people this week about around Starmer's team. There is a bit of a blind spot because they are, in the words of one senior figure in the party said to me, they are convinced they're doing God's work.
Wow.
Which, you know, and that was said to me in quite a sort of acid way. Now, this is somebody who backs them, somebody who's an important figure in the Labour movement said this to me. And there's a sense that somehow they're not that good at looking in the mirror, and anything to do with money in politics can be absolutely toxic. It doesn't really necessarily matter even what the intention was, but it can prove absolutely.
Hey guys, I've said from the very beginning of this Freebies fiasco that Starmer should just have said no thank you and instructed his ministers to do the same. Sure, it's nice to get fancy clothes and expensive tickets to see Taylor Swift, of all people, but is it really worth it? If you want nice suits, tell the donors to give money to the party and set up a fund for it, but the leadership at Labour seems to have been asleep at the wheel on this one. The real failure here is not about legality, it's about optics. Labour doesn't seem to understand that the media is not on their side. The press will ignore Tory corruption and instead focus on Labour's small indiscretions. You need to be more alert about how things look here. Laura Kuenssberg tried to drive this point home by suggesting that Labour has set a high moral standard and now they're being judged by it, which is true. She points out that Starmer and his team have done a great job crafting a narrative around Tory corruption, dodgy cash deals and cronyism, but because they've made morality a key part of their message, they're now being judged on those same moral grounds. And as one senior Labour figure reportedly said, there's a blind spot within Starmer's team, with them believing they're doing God's work. Kind of thinking can prevent them from reflecting on their own actions. The issue here isn't just about money, it's about how it looks. Anything to do with money in politics becomes toxic, and the media is quick to latch onto it, even if the amount is trivial in the grand scheme of things. It's quite amusing how Laura Kuenssberg frames Tory corruption as accusations when there have been clear examples. PPE contracts, Boris Johnson's flat refurbishment and more. Yet Labour dropped the ball here. They didn't anticipate how the media would jump on this and milk it for all it's worth. Now the narrative has gone away from Labour, and instead of focusing on real issues, the media is obsessed with glasses, suits and football tickets and Taylor Swift concerts. Labour should be controlling the narrative, not letting the media set it for them. Starmer should have known from the very start that whilst it's nice to receive gifts, it's politically costly. And while everything has been transparent and above board, they've failed to realise that transparency isn't enough in this case. People see these gifts and think they're a double standard, which there is, especially when there's a cost of living crisis affecting ordinary people. Starmer has now said he won't be accepting any more freebies, but it's a little bit too late. The damage is definitely done. Labour should have thought about the optics from the very start, whether it was worth the risk of being seen as out of touch. At the end of the day, Labour needs to be in control of the narrative, either take a moral stand and say we won't accept these gifts anymore, or make sure the focus stays on fixing the problems facing the country. But anyway, let me know what you think. I've been Jake from Just Jake. Subscribe to the channel and see you next time, folks. You actually made it to the end of the video. If you would like to subscribe to the channel, which, why haven't you already, is somewhere over there. And also, if you want to watch more videos, also check out over there. I've been Jake from Just Jake. See you later.